Hello, everyone, and warm welcome to today's session with HEC Paris to review Master Program in Innovation and Entrepreneurship with Coursera. My name is Diana, and I'm one of the enrollment counselors. And today I'm joined by Pedro, fellow enrollment counselor. He'll be monitoring live chat for your questions, as well as Alexis, who will be helping us behind the scene. And we also have a special guest who I will introduce to you very shortly. But for now, what we'll do is we'll start off with our program overview, followed by program structure. We will then cover application process in a great detail to provide you with further insights, best practices, tips, and recommendations. And then we'll finish off with what you can expect at the end of your degree, as well as having live Q&A session. Now, for the live Q&A session, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, so in the Q&A box as the presentation goes, and then we will review them towards the end. Also, for your reference, this webinar will be recorded and the recording shared with you at the end. Wonderful. So if we move on to the next slide, here I would like you to introduce our special guest, Sarah Valiel-Nemati, who is the program advisor at HEC Paris. She'll be sharing a little bit more information with you today regarding application process, best practices, and other recommendations. So thank you so much, Sarah, first of all, for joining us today. And would you like to share a bit of introduction about yourself?
Yes, thank you, Diana. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm the program advisor for the executive online programs. I'm happy to be here with you guys today, and I will hopefully walk you through the admission process.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And let's start then with the program overview. All right. First of all, to give you a little bit of a background with HEC Paris, it was founded in 1881. Right now, it is home to over 4,500 students, as well as over 8,000 managers and executives in training each year. Most notably, HEC Paris was ranked as #1 business school in Europe by Financial Times for the 4th consecutive year. And also it takes the lead as the top business school in Europe for educating CEOs of Fortune Global 500 companies. This degree is 100% online and flexible and is designed for busy working professionals. So with this program, you can study, first of all, at the #1 business school in Europe, but also without having to leave your home or workplace, which I think is truly incredible. So on the next slide, I wanted to cover a little bit more as to how this degree can prepare you for working at fairly influential level. First of all, your skills, the knowledge, the mindset developed through the program will allow you to deliver enormous value to others and become a valued asset for any management team. We are often asked, what are the job prospects after completing this degree, especially if candidates are not really looking to start their own business. So as you can see on the slide, and also with this program itself, this is ideal qualification for anyone looking to advance their careers. So move to leadership roles. It's great for entrepreneurs, professionals who may be looking to increase their career and earning potential, business leaders looking to foster an innovative culture in their organizations. Also, of course, aspiring company founders, innovation consultants, and business development managers. And these are just some examples. It can really vary on the individual. And on the next slide, we will share some further insights into the recent graduate destinations, so you can get to see some real life examples of what students are doing upon graduating. So here you can see that upon graduation, students from these programs apply their newly acquired skills in a range of sectors such as technology, financial services, consulting, healthcare, energy, and much more. Majority of students continue their growth with existing employer, often securing higher paying and more senior positions. And we also see significant number of graduates starting new jobs, either at another company or by starting their own business. And Alexis, if we move on to the next slide, please. Here we would like to share with you some insights from one of the recent HEC Paris alumni, Florent Emmanuel Ocala, who graduated in 2022. I'll give you a couple of moments to read what he has to say. So as you can see, alumni not only continue to grow in their existing organization, but are also able to apply those learnings to their own entrepreneurial ventures. Move on to the next slide, please. So the part of why this program is so successful, because of the combined input from the academic faculty and practicing entrepreneurs in creating this quite rigorous curriculum. By joining HEC Paris, you will get opportunity to learn from world-class instructors who are highly experienced business experts and entrepreneurs themselves. And I'm truly excited for anyone who is now considering joining the June cohort. You will get opportunity to meet and network with like-minded business professionals from all over the world. So if you're interested in joining, let's go through some of available pathways. There are two pathways with the master degree, the executive master and the standard master program. Whilst these two pathways, they do share majority of the program structure, in this slide specifically, we will talk about the differences between the two of them. So hopefully it may help you to decide which pathway may suit better your interests and needs. So standard MSIE allows junior professional to enter the degree. It does require only 2 or more years of work experience as opposed to 8 or more years for the executive pathway. Students in this pathway will have opportunity to also choose leadership electives if they wish to learn more about perhaps leading organizations and inspiring people. There are also some additional non-credit block of business games, which is based on case studies. And these sessions will take place at the beginning of the program. Now, with the executive master's students, they will need to demonstrate an extensive work experience in a fairly senior positions in order to be accepted onto this pathway. Once on the program, they will be able to benefit from community building sessions. There will be interactive networking sessions as well, intended to help students to get to know each other better, and then, of course, prepare themselves for the team project phase, which will involve a lot of collaboration. Executive students will also have opportunity to register for some in-person workshops that tend to take place in Paris every quarter. These workshops are dedicated to a specific topic and are available for executive students from different cohorts. There normally is a limit to around sort of 30 participants, so I would encourage you to book your place early on if you wish to attend. But of course, these sessions, they're always going to be recorded and held virtually as well, so you can attend that virtually. Now, before we move into the program structure overview, we would like to poll the audience to see where they are in their academic journey. So very shortly, you should see a poll question appearing. I would really appreciate if you don't mind just sharing your insights with us. It should take you only a couple of seconds. And if some of you may already applied, some of you may be still considering and exploring your options. So this way we may be able to provide you with some further guidance throughout the webinar. All right. Great. Thank you so much for taking time to share your insights. And now let's move on to the class profile. So here you can see the demographic of current learners from December intake who recently joined, which shows how diverse the program is, both in terms of professional backgrounds and different nationalities. The executive track attracts more seasoned professionals in quite more senior positions with an average of 14 years of work experience, while the 2-year program, it is more drawn somewhat by younger students with average around of 8 years of work experience across various domains. And I think Now, once we had a chance to review this, let's move on to the next slide where we will review a little bit more the program structure. Great, all right. So the program structure will look similar regarding which pathway you choose. So the curriculum itself is divided into two parts. So the fundamental phase and team project phase. The fundamental phase essentially is the first 6 months where you'll complete 10 courses. You'll learn how to scale up company, boost your creativity, manage new product development processes, capitalize on social media for marketing, and of course, clearly define business strategies. Each course is designed to be completed in 4 weeks. Then in part 2, which is the last 12 months, you will have the option to complete remaining 10 courses, which we call team project phase. And this is where you'll get to apply everything you learned in the real world project. So you'll take a potential project idea, whether that's product, technology, business proposition, and you'll take it from the initial conception all the way through to commercialization. So if you have a business idea, you will create a video pitch and other students can decide if they want to join your team. And normally teams are formed of about 4 to 6 students. You will work both with your team and a mentor who will be chosen by HEC Paris and likely to be either a business leader or entrepreneur themselves. Now, although there are no live lectures, there are 2 live sessions per course. Usually it's around 2. And these are essentially entail instructor office hours with industry experts as well, often joining those events. They normally take place either morning or evening time Paris, according to Paris time zones. They are roughly an hour long, all recorded. And I think this is truly a great opportunity for you to join, ask in-depth questions to your professors, hear from business leaders in the field as well. You will likely to find that in those live sessions, instructors tend to share some additional insights which are not covered in the pre-recorded video lectures. And then you'll get the chance to, of course, interact with your fellow classmates who would be joining from all over the world. So I highly encourage you to attend those sessions if you can. The live sessions, along with the Slack community, discussion forums, and peer reviews, I think all of this combined truly make you feel both connected and engaged throughout the program. And on the next slide, we wanted to share with you a visual representation of the program structure. So here you can see the 18-month structure for executive master degree, where you'll study those 20 separate courses in total, grouped around the distinct program stages. Pedro will be sharing this link for the detailed curriculum with you in the chat. And on the following slide, we would like to share with you, of course, the structure for the 2-year program. So here, as you can see, it does include additional 6 months for thesis, where you will pursue your own individual research project, and then you'll be able to submit your business plan. Your thesis is the sum of all your learned knowledge from the program and gives you a chance to prove your capabilities in a chosen field. Again, for detailed curriculum, please refer to the link that was shared earlier. But right now, I thought it might be a good idea to also introduce you to some of the faculty members on the next slide who will be delivering this curriculum. So HEC Paris faculty features, as we mentioned earlier, world-class academics and who are at the forefront both of research and teaching in business disciplines like strategy, organizational design, leadership, entrepreneurship, and more. Many professors have immersive real-world experience. Also, they are often entrepreneurs, consultants, or corporate executives themselves. So the combination of research, teaching, their practical expertise allow HEC Paris academics to bring those cutting-edge ideas and knowledge to help prepare, of course, the next generation of business leaders and managers. So your academic director for the executive master degree will be Professor Svenja Sommer, and then for the 2-year master program, that will be Professor Denisa Mindruda. Of course, you will have the opportunity to learn more about your individual instructors during the onboarding at the start of the program. Great, let's move on now to the online format and in general online experience and what you can expect from a typical day. So this is a fully online program, as you may already be aware, and it is designed to provide fairly flexible learning experience that lets you build quite strong community of like-minded individuals. You can expect to spend around 15 to 20 hours per week, and that will comprise of watching pre-recorded video lectures, completing quizzes, assignments, readings, and peer reviews. And it may look a little bit different depending on the course. At the end, though, of each course, there will be a proctored online exam, which normally takes around 90 minutes. It's worth 60% of your final course grade, and then remaining 40% will be made up of quizzes, assignments, and peer reviews. There is no set date for the exam. Instead, there is a 10-day period where you'll get the opportunity to book a relevant time slot, and then it does offer you a little bit of more that flexibility when scheduling your examination. Great. And now I would like to cover, before we move on to the next slide, the student support. So, of course, apart from participating in the asynchronous discussion prompts from instructors, the discussion prompts and forums itself, they provide a great space for you to both interact with your peers, with the teaching staff, chance to share resources, post questions, and review any course materials or things about the assignments. And like I mentioned earlier, you have the opportunity to connect with your instructors during live sessions through Zoom and then ask those in-depth questions on the material. You can have those real-time interactions with your peers as well. And often that is communicated through Slack, which is online communication tool you're likely to be using throughout the whole program. You will be added to public channels for every fundamental course. And there are also going to be some private cohort channels during team project phase. Of course, there are also some more casual channels where you get to perhaps meet and organize different meetups through Zoom. So definitely quite a great sense of community on Slack. And you do have also option to connect with HEC Paris program support team, which is more for course advising, grading any private issues. So you'll have a designated email address there. And for any technical issues, there is the 24/7 technical support that's available through Coursera, through the Learner Help Center. Right, now let's discuss the tuition fees. So as you can see on the slide, there is a cost, which is 22,950 euros for the 2-year master program, with the executive pathway being 24,950 euros. This tuition is divided into 4 installments. So you don't have to pay the full tuition fee up front. Instead, what you can do is start with the program deposit, which is 5,000 euros. That is payable 15 days after you receive your original offer. And then you will be left with 3 additional installments due 2, 5, and 8 months once you start on the program. You can see exact amounts on the slide. And in terms of the payment, this can be done using credit card, bank transfer, wire transfer directly through to HEC Paris on your student portal. Wonderful. All right, so we are nearly there in terms of our main part of this event, which is about the application section. But before we move there, I just want to briefly share the admission requirements with you. So to be eligible for the executive master degree, applicants must need to have a bachelor degree completed in any field, minimum of 8 years of professional experience, potential project idea, and a good command of both written and spoken English. And here your professional experience in innovation or entrepreneurship should really guide your program choice and the path, because it will play a key role in your application. And with the 2-year master program, you should have a bachelor degree and a minimum of 2 years of professional experience. But in case you do not have a bachelor degree, you must demonstrate a minimum of 6 years of significant professional experience. Now here we would like to poll the audience once again and ask your insights regarding the application process. What are you facing potentially any challenges at the moment? This may help us later to hopefully resolve them, maybe today through the Q&A part or later on through one-to-one calls with enrollment counselors. So just give you a couple of minutes or a minute to respond. Okay, so hopefully all of you had the chance to contribute. So thank you so much for that. And now we are moving to our highlight of today's session, a reviewing application process, where I will pass on to my colleague Sarah, who will guide you through the whole process of applying and share the tips and best practices. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Diana. Well, I have some good news to share with everyone today. The application process has changed over the past few months, and it's a lot quicker and simpler. So that's the good news. On the right, you can see the application checklist, a 3-minute video pitch, essay questions, professional references. You have your transcript and degree, your resume, the GMAT, university certificate result, and also the application fee. I will explain in details over the next slides. All right, well, to begin with, I'd like to stress the importance of choosing the right program. Here in this portal, we have 2 masters and we have 3 university certificates. Please make sure to choose the right pathway because, for example, we have had candidates in the past who would confuse the classic MSc with the executive MSc. We have students who also confuse the certificates with the master. So make sure to choose the right program to begin with. Next slide, please. All right, well, the recommendation section is really important. Please make sure to choose your referees wisely. As you can see on the left side, you have the program choice, you have the personal details, education. I'd like to let you know that you do not have to fill out these parts in order. So when you start an application, you can go ahead and start completing the recommendation section. Why? Because the referees are busy professionals. They oftentimes take time to respond. So it's a great idea just to fill out the part. You fill out the first name, last name, email address. You send them the email. In the meantime, you're completing your application and you're actually buying some time, and you're letting them know that all they have to do is to answer 2-3 simple questions. It will take 5 minutes maximum. They don't have to write a story about you. They do not have to come up with anything. They just have to answer 2-3 questions. As long as they have not replied, you will not receive any automatic email. So if you have not received any email, it means that they still have not replied. So go ahead and perhaps make sure to follow up on them kindly and let them know that you're waiting for their reply. And please note that you can submit your application if they still have not replied, but your application cannot be examined unless they reply, because it's not a full application unless we have their reply. Who can we choose? It could be your current or former supervisor, manager, director. Please do not ask your colleagues to evaluate you. Do not ask family members. Do not ask people who work for you, because this person needs to be in a higher professionally talking position. If you are an entrepreneur and that you do not have any direct manager, feel free to ask one happy client. And I'd like to stress the fact, happy clients. We have a lot of clients, and make sure to choose the right one. As far as the professional referees or academic referees is concerned, the selection committee tends to prefer the professional ones. However, if you do not have 2 professional referees, we do accept one academic one. That's it for the recommendation part. Thank you. As far as the resume is concerned, please make sure that it's up to date. Sometimes it's very ambiguous. Some of the resume, we have gone through it and we don't understand. We need to check your LinkedIn profile, which is quite also different from your resume. Make sure that it's clear, that your professional experiences, your educational background, Everything is clear. We do not need you to impress us with the resume, but we just need it to be decent and to be clear enough, because the selection committee, they go over through a lot of applications per day. So make sure to present us with a good resume. Let's just see. As far as the video is concerned, as you are all aware, it's a 3-minute video pitch. Please respect the duration. You can go between 2:30 and 3:30 maximum. You need to upload the video on YouTube. The links needs to be public because otherwise we cannot watch it. Some people are quite sensitive about uploading a video on YouTube. You can also share with us the Google Drive, but the access needs to be public as well. You need to be on the video. Please do not use any artificial intelligence to record the video. The whole point of this video pitch is for you to be able to present yourself. We need to see you. The selection committee, the professors, everybody is watching this video. So it's really important for you to be on the video. Please do not read from your notes. You can take a look at your notes from time to time. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to the camera, but I'm taking a look at my notes just to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. You can definitely do that. If you want at some point to present a PowerPoint presentation, you can do that, but you need to be also on the screen just as now. The language needs to be English, so I'm sorry for French candidates, although HEC is in France, you need to prepare the video in English. And yes, that's I think that's all I have to say for the video pitch. Next slide. Well, the essay questions are also one important part of your application. The selection committee, they go through these questions. Please take them seriously. That's the same as the recommendation part. You can, at the beginning of your application, you can completely skip the first few parts and go to this part, because this is where it comes at the end. Some candidates, they get tired, they want to wrap it up. Make sure to answer these questions thoroughly. Most of the time we need at least a paragraph. 2 paragraphs is great, but do not answer just a word or with bullet points or with just one sentence. This is really not complete. We need details, we need complete answers. Our challenge is to select candidates who actually demonstrate outstanding achievements, whether it's in their personal, academic, or professional life. I do not want to put any pressure on you guys, but the admission process is rigorous. We receive a large number of applications. Everybody is qualified almost, but we need to select the most relevant students. That's where the essay question comes. I'd like to go back perhaps to the video pitch. I explained a bit about the technicalities, but it's also very important for you to stay relevant to the topic. You basically answer to these questions while you're applying to this program, and how this program can actually contribute to any projects that you might have currently in your job, or whether you want to start your own company. So these are the points that are important in the essay questions as well. Please stay relevant. They're asking for weakness. Please do not mention every weakness that you might have. You try to represent a proper application. The bonus questions, I advise you strongly, although this is bonus and you don't have to do it. This is something optional, but please do that as well. Back to the checklist. You do not have to take any English proficiency level language, but if you have it, you can upload it. It does not add any additional value to your application. I knew that in the past, there were a lot of candidates who would call me and ask whether they should take the test. As long as you're able to communicate in written form, in oral form, it's okay. We do not need you to take any exams. Your English proficiency is actually evaluated through the video pitch that you prepare, which is also watched by everyone. And also, if you have done any university certificates, please make sure to communicate with us your notes. Although that does not guarantee any admission to the program, but your performance will help the jury to make a better decision on your case. So this is something that you can also mention on your video, that you have done the university certificates, and it will help boost your application. Well, I think that's it for the essays part. Over to you, Diana.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for amazing tips. I hope that, well, I'm pretty sure this was definitely a useful insight to more of a kind of generic summary of what students need to do, and I think definitely valued by students, and hopefully we get to see some more applications coming through following some of those great recommendations. Now, what you can see on the slide here, we just wanted to briefly give you a bit of a timeline of what you can expect once you submit your application. And there is an application fee, which is €100, but once that's done, your application will be reviewed by the admission committee. The decision then gets to send to associate professor for the final review. In some rare cases, there may be an invitation sent to you for an online interview for one of the program directors, but it doesn't happen in every single scenario. And normally you can expect to receive a decision within 2 to 3 weeks on average via email. And I want to highlight for those who are in the process of applying, the next application deadline will be the March 25th, so coming up very soon, to start your studies beginning of June cohort. Great. So now if we move to the next slide, we will briefly cover, I guess, what you can expect once you graduate from the program. So first of all, after you successfully completed the degree, you will receive a degree awarded by HEC Paris in either Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship or Executive Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. To answer one very common question, there is no indication that on your degree certificate or on your official documents that it was completed online or through Coursera. And you will also receive a physical copy of your degree in the mail along with your transcripts for the executive pathway. For the 2-year master program, your final certificate will be shared with you electronically. On both occasions, you will be invited to a graduation ceremony in France, where you will have opportunity to join the rest of your cohort and faculty. It's a great event to attend if you can. It's really exciting time to, first of all, meet some of your classmates who you've been working closely for the past couple of years, worked on a range of projects. And if you are interested in maybe seeing behind the scenes of one of our more recent graduation ceremony, which took place in June last year, Pedro will be sharing a link in a chat with you. So please have a look. I think it's definitely a nice way to celebrate the conclusion of this big achievement. Great. All right. So on the next slide, essentially, once you graduate, you will become a member of HEC Paris Alumni Association, which is ranked as #1 alumni network in the world, with some most notable alumni, including former French President François Hollande and Michelin CEO Jean-Dominique Senard. What is remarkable is that at the moment, HEC Paris has over 70,000 alumni based in 152 countries, and that keeps growing. With that in mind, the members, they help organize over 1,000 events each year, again, all across the world. And you will also have access to the exclusive job offerings reserved specifically for HEC Paris alumni, both in France and internationally. And you can also take part in some ongoing training workshops, webinars, one-to-one career counseling, and of course, access HEC Paris incubator located in Station F, which is one of the biggest startup campuses in the world. For those who may not know, the HEC Paris incubator is a startup support program with the aim of accelerating the development of entrepreneurs like yourselves by connecting you with the whole HEC community and beyond. So what that means is that you'll be able to take your team project in this program into the next phase by applying for seed funding. And if approved, you'll be able to see your team project come to life. So right now, more than 70 startups joined Incubator each year, and they can benefit from coaching sessions, meetings with journalists and investors. There's peer mentoring, range of social events, as well as opportunity to build relationships with corporate partners. And so far, since its creation in 2007, the incubator at HEC Paris has already accompanied over 250 companies. All right. Now, on the next slide, before we move to our live Q&A, I did want to share with you that HEC Paris does offer both virtual and in-person campus tours. And whilst this program is fully online, I would say virtual tour is a really great way to personally experience what it may be like to be part of HEC community. And Pedro will share with you a link that you can explore and take actually a virtual look around the campus. Should you ever be in Paris as a fellow student in future, you can always drop in and see the campus for yourself, experience their great facilities from first of all, the scenery, but of course there is access to the gym, the meeting rooms, and just see fellow students of HEC Paris. Okay, I think if we move to the next slide, that brings us now to our live Q&A session. So first of all, thank you already to everyone who's been adding their questions to the chat box. I can see that we have quite a few questions there already. Also, take your time, please, to put anything else that might come to mind. And also, if you have a specific question you wish Sarah to address, maybe around the application process or similar, please let us know. So let's have a look at some of the questions here. So one is related to the deadlines. So right now, for the June cohort, the next application deadline is the 25th of March. However, there may be additional deadlines coming up for June intake. If for whatever reason you are unable to complete the application in time, I know there's quite a few days remaining. Should June cohort not be a right fit for whatever reason, there will be another intake in December. So there's June and December cohorts. All right. So some questions are related to the startups. So some examples of what are some startups that have come from the program. Now, whilst unfortunately I don't have the specific details of any specific startups, perhaps what might help is to share some ideas or things that students tend to review during the team project phase. And occasionally, some of those ideas actually do evolve into future startups. So for your reference, some teams that would come across during that team project phase were focusing on medical labs, green tourism, collaborative and social services in Africa, cybersecurity awareness, blockchains in supply chains, and much more. So these are some topics. Obviously, once you join in the program, there may be more teams you wish to explore with your teammates, but hopefully that provides you with a bit of insight of what those startups may look like in future for you. All right. So yes, again, we have some similar questions regarding the deadlines. Completely understand that with so few days remaining until the applications close for the March period, there will be one more deadline that you can benefit from in April, should you wish to still put forward strong application and potentially join in June cohort. So the exact date, let me have a look. So you would have towards early April to put forward your application. So I would strongly encourage perhaps reconnecting with myself through the one-to-one meeting so we can review exactly how much preparation may be needed to put forward strong application and then for you to submit it so that you can be reviewed in time by the panel. There is one question regarding installments options and whether there is any flexibility in terms of those installment options, such as monthly installments. So whilst monthly installments, unfortunately, would not be possible, I might maybe pass on to Sarah if she might share any other insights regarding those payment solutions. Sarah, would you mind just sharing maybe some additional?
Sure. As we have talked earlier about the installment, we have 4 installment, but if you want to add 1 or 2 more installments, it is possible. But I'm afraid if you're asking for 12 installments, that's not going to be possible. What I advise the students to do is to send me what is it that they want to do, what's their plan, and I will redirect their request to the financial department, and sometimes they accept it, sometimes they refuse it. But 1 or 2 more installment, it is possible, depending on how you present your case.
Thank you so much. I think it's a very good addition to this question. So hopefully, Tilo, that answers that. Great. All right. So there is one question related to the actual end of the executive. So when December 2025 executive cohort graduate? So I guess if I'm understanding question right, if you are planning to join in December next year, when would you graduate? So here, so the executive pathway is 18 months long. So if you join in December, so from that point, you can count 18 months, and it's likely to be June, if my math is correct. But what I would suggest is there may be some different timelines in terms of like when you receive your actual final certificate, when the ceremony is due. So all of that would be communicated with students on the program and shared with you by your program manager. So keep an eye out on that. But so far, it looks like the right timing for the graduation. We do have another question, whether companies can pay for the candidate in installments. And I believe answer here will be yes, company can pay on behalf of the candidate. I think the procedure will be similar in terms of what Sarah just outlined, how installments would work. So unless there's anything else I should add about the company sponsoring students, I think that might.
They can pay partially or they can pay the whole tuition. And if you have a French contract, you can also use your CPF accounts, the credits that you have, to pay for the tuition partially.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, thank you. Great. There is one more question, which is to do with scholarships. And I am afraid that there currently are no scholarship options that are available to support this program. So some additional ways to be maybe considering if you're unable to pay for the fees yourself would be maybe seeking either bank loans. It could be having those open discussions with your employer, if you're in employment at the moment, whether they may be supporting you financially, either partially or fully for the program. So there'll be a couple of alternative things to explore.
If I may add, for those students who are actually waiting on a bank loan, nothing will stop you to start with a university certificate in the meantime, and then you can transfer the credits that you have earned toward the master degree. The tuition, the 4,000 euro that you have paid for the university certificate is also deduced from the master degree. We had 1 or 2 candidates who had a late answer on behalf of their bank. They started with a certificate and they pick up where they left with the next cohort. So this is also an option.
I think that's a really good insight as well. And we just had one similar question about starting with university certificate and what might be maybe benefits or return on investment from doing that first. And so this is one of the examples, if maybe financially you feel you may need additional way to split the cost a little bit more. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Sarah. So we have one question, whether students are able to apply for the master degree without having a TOEFL or any English proficiency certificate. Sarah covered that earlier, but essentially you don't need to have any specific test results to put for your application. If you have them, of course, you can mention, but in the end, the way it will be assessed is, of course, through the answer of your essay questions, through the video pitch that you'll be delivering. And it's important that you do have quite high command of both that written English, the speaking English, so that the program is delivered fully in English, and it is important to have quite good standards. Great. Okay. A few more questions remaining, and please keep them coming. We still have some time to respond to them all. So one of the students asked if it's possible to add a course on sustainability and get a major on the sustainability topic. So my understanding is that the 20 courses that are part of the 2 pathways, these are predetermined. And so there is a curriculum that you can review through the link shared earlier. I don't believe there's any specific course that was focusing on sustainability, but if this is your area of interest, you may consider it as a topic for your team project phase, perhaps, and then share it with your fellow classmates, and then eventually have that as a focus for that program, or even a thesis if you're considering 2-year master program. But Sarah, perhaps you may have any other suggestions here, or maybe ideas regarding sustainability and how students can
Well,
elaborate.
if you're looking for something completely about sustainability, this is not the right program for you. And we have programs about sustainability on our website. You can definitely go and check it out. However, the courses are fixed and we cannot personalize the master degree. That's a no, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Thank you for clarification. Okay, and I think the last one currently remaining is for students who may be living in Russia, if they can join the program. The answer here would be yes. You may be aware probably that with Coursera, there's slightly different sort of restrictions in terms of our ability to maybe support students. But here I would suggest you could reach out to HEC Paris directly if you need maybe some further guidance before putting forward your application, but then it wouldn't stop you from actually joining the degree and still studying on this program. One really good question that perhaps, Sarah, I'll pass on to you, whether online students have similar student services like on-campus students, for example, library access and similar.
Exactly. You cannot access the gym. I'm afraid it's not possible, but you have access to online library and all the resources that other students they have. You're also more than welcome to come to the campus. If you're visiting France, you are a normal, regular HEC student. That does not change anything. And yeah, feel free to come and visit us if you're around.
Great, and thank you for that warm invitation as well. And hopefully many students would be in a position to do so, especially if they live locally and join the program in June. There is one question regarding whether any certificates are provided for attending this live session. So I'm assuming you might be referring to this webinar. And if so, unfortunately, there's no any kind of certificates as such. We will be sharing recording upon completing this session. So you can always watch back the recording. And if you do want to have a more in-depth chat regarding your current interest, desire in the program, maybe some questions were still left unanswered, feel free to book a meeting. You can scan the QR code, but also Pedro will be sharing the link with you in the chat where you can actually book a meeting with us directly. And that way we can provide more in-depth guidance. So there is one additional question still pending. We have a bit of time to still respond to those. Student holds diploma in communication studies. Can they apply then for postgraduate diploma? So if I understood the question correctly, you may then refer if you want to apply for the master degree with having diploma in communication studies. If this diploma is at the bachelor level, so it's a full bachelor degree, then you can apply for both the 2-year program and executive pathway. If, however, it's incomplete bachelor, so just the diploma, maybe even a graduate certificate, if you have 6 years of professional experience or more, you may then be eligible to apply for the 2-year program, but unfortunately, it is crucial for the executive pathway to have full bachelor degree completed. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so I'll give you just one more minute if you have anything else to add last minute that comes to mind. If you're in the process of applying already, and if you have any questions, if you're about to apply, hopefully, there's a few more minutes to put your questions in the chat. And also it's a great opportunity to benefit whilst we have Sarah here with us today. So I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, so we had quite a good range of questions already asked today, so hopefully that provided you with some further guidance and clarification about what you can expect from the process. Just seen one more question coming up, so let's respond to that one and we can conclude this session. So the question is if there are any deadlines for the certificates application. So if you're referring to university certificates with HEC Paris, deadlines will follow the same way that you now have until the 25th of March to put forward a short registration form. So for university certificates, actually the whole process is much faster when you apply. You just need to fill in a few brief details. It should take you no longer than probably 10 minutes. And then your application then would be reviewed by HEC Paris, and you would hear back with the decision and next steps. And afterwards, I believe that will be early April, but I would encourage, of course, the sooner you put forward your application, the quicker you will have the decision and then idea of the next steps. Okay, just reading for a few final questions here. Okay, so actually a very good question we have from one of the students regarding the highest degree. So in the application form, there is a section called highest degree, where students need to upload their diploma, which is required section. And if they haven't finished a bachelor degree, what should they put in that part? And here I would probably pass on to Sarah because she'll have a better guidance to provide.
Sure. Thank you, Diana. If you do not have any bachelor degree, but you have at least 6 years of professional experiences, you can definitely apply for the MSc program. However, for the executive, this is really not possible. In order to be able to submit your application, you can upload just a Word document stating that I do not have any bachelor degree, but I confirm that I have at least 6 years of professional experiences that you can verify and check on my resume in order to be able to submit it, because this is one of the mandatory documents which is required on your application.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And I guess to add to that, if you, under the education section, I think it may be encouraged just to add your highest education. If it's not a bachelor degree, then it may be your high school completion or similar. So as long as you're able to add any education you have and then follow Sarah's guidance with adding maybe some further explanation that you do not have bachelor's, but then have at least 6 years of experience, that all would just help the panel to make more informed decision about your suitability. All right. And then a few more questions appeared, which is, if students have a bachelor degree in law, can they apply for a Master of Innovation? Yes, you can. So if your bachelor degree can be from any discipline, as long as you have that desire and hopefully some relevant experience, maybe already around innovation, entrepreneurship, and some of those key themes that would be covered in a master degree, you can still put forward your application and then really expand on your motivations in there. And then finally, there's a question whether software engineering experience at the quite senior position, but not in a managerial position as such, could qualify. Again, maybe a good question for you, Sarah.
Yeah, I'd say yes. If you had a senior position, if you had if you people who worked for you and you supervise, I'd say yes. You can definitely go for it.
Great, thank you. And then finally, last question is whether new students can add attendance at this webinar to their resume. I don't see why not. It might be even better to perhaps later on add that you completed university certificate with HEC Paris or even completed a master degree. So it definitely would be a really good addition to your CV. But of course, you can, of course, mention that you attended the seminar. Great. So thank you so much for all your amazing questions. And want to say massive thank you to you, Sarah, as well, for joining us today, for sharing your wisdom, your expertise with students. I think definitely very valid tips, and hopefully that will help fellow students now put forward very strong application in the remaining few days. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll see everyone very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.